Hey guys, welcome back to my IoT training videos. So today we are going to play with Kinetic EFM. So we are going to discuss about the symbols, and the symbols actually are the functions if you are used to programming. So this is a procedure or a function depending of the language you might be used to. This is actually how we call the same feature. So the goal of using symbols is to create more compact data flows, to ease up the reading of your flows. It's going to be much simpler to troubleshoot if you have symbols. So in the system I have a simulator. This is a sensor simulator, so we have a bunch of values that are coming in the system. So we have a bunch of temperature sensors. So we are going to use two of these, and then we are going to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit and the other way around. So this is, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So we're gonna go ahead and create a new flow. So I'm going to go to my test folder. I'm going to create a data flow. So I'm going to call it symbol training. Okay, invoke. So I'm going to edit it. So I'm going to collapse this. Is going to be to make a little bit of space. So I'm going to go back to my sensor simulator. I'm going to grab two values. So it's going to be this one, and I'm going to use the sensor number 2 as an example. So I have two values over here. So I'm going to collapse this to make a little bit of room, and I'm going to do the same with the inspector. Okay. So first off, we need to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, and if I remember correctly, the formula is multiplying by 9, dividing by 5, and adding 32, and it's going to be Fahrenheit. Okay, so what do we need here? We need to multiply. So I need to multiply block. There's 1. I need to multiply by 9, so it's going to be multiplying by 9. I need to divide by 5. Okay, so here is my dividing block. It's gonna say this is gonna be 5, and I need to add 32. Let's add 32. And finally, I want to format my block because I don't like having multiple decimals. I only want to have 2, so this is not the right one. This is format number. So I'm going to ask it to have only 2 decimals. And finally, I want to inject the result to a variable, so it's going to be easier. So I'm going to call it Fahrenheit because it's reflecting what's going to be. So now I can inject values in the blocks, and then we're going to see if it makes sense. So the input value is 21.17, which is 70.12. It makes sense actually. So you can see here my flow is quite complicated because I have multiple blocks over here, and this is quite complicated to read. In the end result, I only want to have one block for converting the temperature. Is going to be much easier to read after that. So I'm going to do the first method to create a symbol is to select a flow. So you just have to select the flow you want to convert. So there's going to be those 4, and I'm going to right click and click on convert to symbol, and it asking it to give it a name. So it's going to be Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, so it's done. So you can see here this is much simpler because I only have one block, and I can actually replicate this to reuse multiple times. Here actually, yes, I'm annoying, but there are actually two things I don't like. So input and output, this is not reflecting what the block is doing, so I want to be it much more clear. So instead of input 0, I want to have Celsius, and output I want to have the name Fahrenheit instead of the output, and we are going to adjust this. So the conversion, actually it created a symbol in the symbol tabs. So you have your blocks, it is what is predefined with the system, and here you have your blocks. So I have my brand new blocks that we just created, so I can go ahead and edit it. So just right click on it, select edit. So I have my block over here. So there are multiple things we need to address. So in the best practice, just like when creating a block, the end result needs to be in a variable. This is in the best practices, so I want to do this the same with my symbol. So I'm going to go ahead and add those variables, one for input and one for output, and I'm going to say, as this is Celsius, I'm going to call it Celsius, and I'm gonna do the same for the output. It's going to be Fahrenheit. All right, so this is good. Input, and we are going to do the same over here. So now we need to adjust the input and output parameters. We need to tell the system what to do with their input parameters and with the output parameter. So we are going to edit the properties of the symbol. So just right click anywhere in the symbol properties. So you can see here symbol properties, and here we have input 0 and output 0. And actually I'm going to get rid of this, and this one we are going to recreate this, so it's going to be easier. So the input is going to be a number, so it's going to be Celsius, and our output is going to be Fahrenheit, and we are going to rename it Fahrenheit. Okay, so this is done. So the next things we need to do, we need to bind that variable to the input variable. So this one, so the name that is here, this is going to be the name that is going to reflect over here. So we need to tell the system what to do with the value. So we are going to click on the blue dot over here, and I'm going to bring this value in my input, and then you can see here that icon has appeared, just to remind me there was an input parameters, and this is here. And for the output though, I need to click on my output variable, and I need to bring it over here. So it's going to be done. So now I need to click on apply. Okay. So now to reapply this, we need to get rid of this one, and then we need to bring back this one to my flow. So, and I can actually bring the value. So you can see here this is working. So we have our input parameter, and then we have the output parameter, which is Fahrenheit. This is much more clear because we know it's going to be a Celsius, and we know it's going to output some Fahrenheit degrees. Quite simple though. So now we are going to do the other way around. We are going to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. So I'm going to go ahead and go here. I'm going to click new, because we are going to create a new one. It's going to be Fahrenheit to Celsius. Okay. All right, we have a brand new one. So if I remember correctly, the formula is we need to subtract 32, we need to multiply by 5, and dividing by 9. Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. So the input parameter is going to be Fahrenheit. The output parameter is going to be Celsius. All right. Now I said we need to subtract 32, so subtract, and it's going to be 32. We need to multiply by 5. I need to have a multiply block. There it is. Okay, it's going to be 5, and I need to divide. and it's gonna be 9. Okay, and I need, of course, my format number, so it's gonna be over here, and it's gonna be 2 decimals, right? So now I can inject values. It's gonna be this, and there it is, and output is gonna be, it's gonna come here. So the last operation, we need to bind the input variables to my flow. I need 2 numbers. Okay, this body is gonna be Fahrenheit, okay, and this one is gonna be my Celsius. Okay, we need to tell it, okay, you're gonna input some Fahrenheit and then you are going to output Celsius. Okay, done. Don't forget to click on apply. Okay, and it's done. So we can play with the system. So I can come over here, I can make it a little bit bigger so we can read, and I want to have another block over here. I can call it Celsius. Okay, and we can bring the input value. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can read, and we can bring the value over here. So here, and here, if we want to, oops, sorry for that. And here, if we want to test it out, so we can actually reconvert this value back to Celsius just to see if our system is working. So I can actually bring my another block over here, and I can say, okay, just use this and convert it back. So it is working because I have my Celsius values converted to Fahrenheit and converted back to Celsius, and it's working. This is the same number. So you see how the symbol can be used, and this could be much more complicated than just converting Celsius to Fahrenheit. So this is just you can see here that it could be much more complicated than just converting temperatures. So you could have multiple input values, multiple output values, so it's going to be much easier to read after that, because you only have one block to transform some data or to do some treatment on some data. So this is very useful feature. So you can create blocks, and then you can simplify your programming. I'm hoping that you have found this training useful. If you did, please go ahead and like the video in YouTube. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to use the comment sections. This is always appreciated, and I will certainly answer to your questions. So see you next time, and have a good day.